Hoo, ha, he grabs the ball, he bounces it around, he sees the hoop, he shoots, he scores! Woo-hoo-hoo! I must say, that was not a bad game of basketball. What? Average movies like this can have these kinds of puns, can't they?
The Filming Daniel.
Okay, let's get my hoodie on. We don't want to see too much of the bod throughout the whole video, and also make sure there's no slight chill feeling my skin. It does get pretty chilly when you just have a vest on. You like this? I can't remember where I got this vest from. I don't know. Yeah, no, I can't remember where I got it from. I just had it for a while, and I thought that this would be the perfect video to wear this in. Anyway, hey guys, it's Daniel here, and yes, I apologise once again for my hiatus. But as I said in my update video a couple weeks ago, I was a bit busy. But, you know, I'm here now, and I'm going to try to do some more movie reviews. And also, welcome to my first movie review for 2026. Yeah, I'm sorry it took me this long. I've just been reviewing TV reviews, and 3 of them are Dexter reviews. Man, I really need to catch up on some things. So, what have I decided to review for my first movie review of 2026? Well, a movie about a goat that does basketball, or raw ball as I believe they would call it. It's a bit confusing. But anyway, I'm here today to review that movie, the animated sports movie, GOAT! So the premise of GOAT follows, well, a goat by the name of Will Harris, who dreams of becoming what a lot of sports athletic people in his animal jungle area dream of becoming, a basketball player. Or that's what they'd be calling it here in real world, but in Will's world they call it raw ball. And luckily, he might just get his wish, because after failing to challenge a big shot bully, this like horse raw ball player, he comes across a agent that agrees to let Will sign up to be a part of his favourite raw ball team under the guidance of his favourite raw ball player, Jet. However, when he gets there, he does have a little bit of competition because his team is made up of some of the biggest and toughest raw ball players in the world, and Will is just a goat, a very small animal compared to the rest of them, and he does get a bit mocked and is not really given much encouragement by the other players. But he becomes determined to prove the world wrong that a goat can't play a game, and he takes part in this team to play the most toughest and most extreme raw ball games ever. So, when I first heard about this movie, I just thought it was going to be just a regular animated movie about a goat by Sony Animation. But then I saw the trailer, and I saw that they were kind of using the Spider-Verse animation that they used for other movies, like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, and some others. So I was like, oh, they're trying to have a lot of faith in this movie. I just hope it doesn't turn out to be a generic talking animal comedy or a sports movie. And it does have a nice star-studded cast, and it's been done by Sony Pictures Animation. And that is an animation that's known for great work, like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, Hotel Transylvania, Mitchells vs. the Machines. The studio has created so many great animated movies and funny animated movies. So I wasn't looking forward to seeing GOAT, but, you know, I'm doing it for this video, so I gave it a chance. I kind of pushed off from seeing it for a bit, but I decided to review it for this video because, hey, I need to fill up my channel with some more movie reviews somehow. And after watching GOAT, what do I have to think? This is one of the most generic, cliche, and boring movies I've seen in a good long while. I mean, it's not a terrible movie, it's just not an interesting movie either. However, I do have a few good things to say about GOAT. First off, the animation, for the most part, definitely carries a lot of the same uniqueness and also action awesomeness from the Spider-Man movies and other films with this kind of animation. I mean, the character movements do feel a little bit stilted, because they are kind of being refrained from giving loud movements or proper good movements, because a few frames do seem a bit cut in many areas. But it was still interesting to see how they animated these animals, but it's the Rollerball games where the animation truly shines. The way that they would like shoot up and down for where the Rollerball would bounce, and some of the challenges in like the big athletic Rollerball games are so mesmerizing, especially when it comes to like fire and ice, and it's just all of this like imaginative surroundings and locale for these games. So I thought that the animation really suited best there. A few of the songs were pretty good choices as well. I mean, some of them you can tell are just put into the film just to make the film look hip and cool, which, yeah, that is kind of like a thing with the movie. It does try a bit too hard to seem hip and cool, but, you know, I don't really recommend myself to listen to these songs again straight away, because they're nothing too memorable, but they do fit the atmosphere of the scene, and they do fit the kind of sporty activity and cool vibe that some of the scenes would have. And I will admit, some of the supporting characters I was really getting into. I think probably my favourite character in the movie is not even somebody in the main cast. It's that sheep lamb boss that works at the cafe that Will works as a delivery boy at. She was actually my favourite character. Even like with the small amount of screen time she has quippy banter, a nice sassy attitude, but a very kind attitude and supportive of Will's dreams. And even though she is his boss, she does want to support Will for whatever he chooses to do with his dreams, and even meets up with Jet, the famous basketball player, in a scene where she gives Jet these shoes. And I think that her character was very good, and I thought her voice acted was fantastic. However, when she's a supporting character that's like in only 3 or 4 scenes in the film that are very short, and she's my favourite character, that's when you know something's wrong. And with that said, let's get to the issues I have with GOAT. Yes, that's it. Those are it for the positives, because not much I can think of that are as good as positives. So let's talk about the negatives. And yeah, these problems do take up most of what I thought of about the film. One of the major aspects and most obvious aspects about this movie that can be criticised by a few people, and yes, I will criticise it myself, this movie is extremely cliche. It's a story about an underdog, or under-goat. Okay, that's enough now. About a rising, passionate player in a sports event that wants to make it up to the top and become one of the great players, but he's looked down, and he comes across like this mentor that is kind of rough around the edges, but still willing to give the person a chance, and he has a ragtag team of players to face off in a big game against a hotshot bully who has all the fame and all of the attention, but as soon as this little underdog rises above, he gets jealous and he's like, oh, I don't want him to steal my glory. I'm going to win against him by any means necessary, even if it means cheating or fouling through the game. We've seen this formula being done many times in many sports movies. Cars, Early Man, Space Jam. Okay, maybe some of those comparisons might not be exactly, but they do have those similar sports movies. The only difference is that these players are animals. They don't play necessary basketball, but it is a basketball-like game, but with a different name, and our underdog is instead an undergoat. again, I'll stop making those comparisons. And it's not like every movie can be 100% original, but this movie doesn't really try to do too much with the idea of like, oh, let's make a bunch of animals play basketball, but let's do something nice and show that we have passion for making this movie. But despite the animation quality, if you just gave this like a cartoony animation, I probably wouldn't even notice, because it doesn't feel unique, and there were many moments where I could tell some of the lines that these characters were going to say, and I kind of was like checking out the movie in a few points. Like I said, not every movie can be 100% original, so maybe I can find some things to make up for the lackluster and cliche plotline, but there are other stuff about the movie that fails as well too. And one of the major ones is the pacing of the movie. The first half of the movie was like incredibly slow. It's not like it's like aggravatingly slow, but there are many moments that do last for too long, and there are a few parts where I'm like, okay, can we just get to the next scene or get to like one of the games already, because we're like sitting in this like suburban area for 20 minutes. Like the first 20 minutes of the movie is getting to know Will and his society before he goes into the game, and it's a good thing to be able to give like his character and the whole environment that he lives in a good amount of development and a good amount of time to get to know these people before you go to the game. But A, the characters in those moments aren't very memorable, and B, I feel like that those moments went on for a bit too long, and I'm just like, okay, we want to get to the part where we get to see them actually play Rollerball, or Will actually getting to take part in the game. Can we move on to the next scene, please? Like, let's go on, chop chop, hurry up, man. And also, and then the rest of the first act, the first half started to be very slow in a few areas. And then the second half of the movie, there are multiple things that are like speed over and rushedly dropped into the plot at the last minute. And there's like characters going back and forth with, oh, I'm a grumpy person, or I'm a happy person, or I don't want anything to go wrong in this game, but oh, nothing's going to go wrong with the game. Especially with Jet's character. Her character keeps going back and forth. She flip-flops between her personality multiple times that it's kind of hard to like be able to put up with her in many moments. And there's also many things in the second half that are just dropped in at the last minute, which honestly, if you haven't seen the movie, don't watch the rest of this video, but I'm just going to spoil this. Apparently, Jet's agent, the manager that's like the manager of like her whole team, is selling them out and acting like a smug diva in front of Jet out of the blue, and then after that happens, her character just becomes like a cruel antagonist in the story. I guess she's supposed to be a twist secondary villain, and where did this come from? This was like dropped in right like out of nowhere, and there were no clues to hint that she had like a smug, arrogant side. I mean, yes, she could be a bit cocky towards Jet in a few moments, but I thought she was just more of a laid-back manager. So the fact that you turn her into this like cruel and smug woman, it's like a last-minute addition just to have a surprise villain. I also think that there are many moments in the movie where there's so many like annoying, mean-spirited moments that it was kind of hard to like be gripped into the story when you have characters like Jet going back and forth between her unlikable and likable personality, or you have Will, who seems like a nice, decent person and passionate rollerball player, but some of his like showboating, I mean, maybe that's how it's done in the rollerball, that you have to do a bit of showboating after you hit a good score, but some of his showboating does kind of get a little bit grating at times, and in my opinion it didn't match the kind of passionate and polite character that he was. And the last problem I had with this movie were the characters. Many of them were so forgettable, many of them were not interesting, and none of them were memorable, to the point where I honestly couldn't even remember a lot of these characters' names. In fact, I even had to, I can't even remember Jet's last name for some reason. that's how I didn't really grasp too much into her character. I mean, whenever she is like being friendly with Will or friendly with her team, she does have a cool laid back personality, but then she'll just automatically go back to being insecure and wanting to take the attention away from her whole team. I mean, I get that she's being criticized by the whole of society for getting old in the world, and honestly, I kind of feel for her in a few of those moments. It shows that society should not be going down on someone that has spent a long time passionately playing in a sport, and you know, you shouldn't judge them for getting older, but not to like force them to retire. But again, we've seen this in like Cars 3 when people were doing that to Lightning McQueen. But also, her character wasn't able to keep my attention because of her flip-flop personality. It's like Jim Carrey's character in Me, Myself and Irene, which I haven't seen, but I know that there's a split personality character. And Will, I think he's okay, but he does kind of seem like a bit of the Mary Sue, vanilla, polite character. And I do mean a Mary Sue, because many moments I'm surprised that he's able to, like, I know he's done a lot of practice in Rollerball and he's able to, like, shoot the ball in the hoop multiple times throughout this film, but it just came off as a bit like, oh, you give him the power of, like, oh, perfect Rollerball talent. And I feel like there should have been a moment or two where he did kind of stumble and a bit struggled with like his playing ability, but most of the time I couldn't see that. He was just too good at his job. The one thing I will say about Will's character is that I do think that his actor, Caleb McLaughlin, who played Lucas on Stranger Things, does give him a decent voiceover, to the point where I honestly forgot that it was Caleb. I just saw Will Harris, so that was interesting. The lizard character did kind of get a bit on my nerves. I mean, he had the potential to be funny, but he just came across as a bit weird to me. I think Nick Kroll voiced him, and I do think he gave him a good voice. In terms of like the whole team, I'd say the two that stood out was like the monkey coach played by Patton Oswalt. I think Patton did a fantastic job, and David Harbour, Jim Hopper himself as the Rhino. I automatically could tell, like, oh yeah, that's David Harbour as the voice of the Rhino, and his voice fits a big, strong, brooding character. But again, some of the members of the team, I honestly couldn't remember their names, and I didn't feel like they stood out. And the villain? Oh my goodness, man, really? This is like one of the most generic big shot bully villain characters I've ever seen. He's like, oh, I am a big player and you are a little goat. I got all the attention. This is my game. I am not letting you ruin it. I'm not letting a little pathetic, puny person, goat, or whatever the animals are, ruin my chances. Ha, I'm going to win. I'm going to cheat. What can I say about this villain? He's just a generic jerk. I mean, yes, yes, he's so aggravating we want him to lose, but what else is there to his character? He's just, I don't know, he's just there. So yeah, I guess that's really it I have to say about Goats. I was pretty underwhelmed by it, to the point where, like, during the last 30 minutes of the movie, I was constantly wanting to go onto my phone and just, you know, it's there, but it's just background noise. I wasn't really grasping at what was happening on screen, and I was pretty much able to tell how the movie was going to end, so it's like, oh, I'll just go on my phone, I'll just, you know, occasionally look at the screen. It's a very cliche, not that well paced vanilla movie to me. And I know a lot of people are going to act like, because I've seen like Black Critic Guy make a video about Goat, and I saw a comment on that video saying, dude, the movie it's a kids movie, you know? Just give it a break, you know, you need to give it a kids movie. It's a kids movie, but it shouldn't be a mindless kids movie. It should be one that helps the kids to really grasp at a story and see some adult themes that they'll be aware of. And don't forget that there are many kids movies out there about talking animals that do more than the bare minimum. Films like, I don't know, let me think. Kung Fu Panda, The Wild Robot. Well, I mean, even though that movie is about a robot, it's still a talking animal comedy in many moments. Let me think. Many Studio Ghibli movies, like, even if they're not talking animal comedies, they have well-suited movies that are for the full family, including kids, that do display some well-structured storytelling and deep thinking. So that's not really an excuse for why this movie, in my opinion, failed, and I do think that there are better movies like this. In fact, come think of it, I would rather you watched Early Man than Goat, because Early Man, it follows that goofy movie formula of, oh, what if cavemen played football? You know, I feel like that movie should have been about real caveman adventures, but the thing that held that movie together was a charming tribe of cavemen who we feel sympathy for and we want to see them succeed. And even though the villain, Lord Nuth, is a bit of a generic villain that wants gold and is a little bit of a big shot bully himself, he has the entertaining voice of a unrecognisable French Tom Hiddleston. So automatically you're going to have me connected more with that villain than the one in Goat. So overall guys, Goat, I'm going to have to give a 2 out of 5. Pretty forgettable, and I mean, if you want to go see it, that's fine, you'll probably enjoy it. But for me, it's just meh. It's just blah. But anyway guys, what do you think of Goat? Do you love it? Do you hate it? And what's your favourite sports movie or talking animal comedy? Let me know in the comment section below. More videos to come, and I'm Daniel reviewing movies, TV shows, and doing videos, grabbing the basketball and tossing him into the hoop. He scores! Woo! Peace out, man. Well, this is a bit of an awkward way to end a review.